Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente, and here are some of today's trends in the news. Well, the market's down a little bit, gold is up a little bit, everything's just summer doldrums, as they say. But watch out, anything could happen at any time. There's no solving the European debt crisis. They keep talking about more and more bond buying. The markets are down because now the word is the Fed might not stimulate. And of course, I think they will at some point. They'll do something. They have to, because the numbers just aren't coming in. But here's some more proof. But they could look at it differently. Bank loans at post-recession peak support U.S. growth. As I said, they look at it differently. Banks in the U.S. are lending the most since the recession ended in June 2009, supporting an economy weighed down by 8.3% unemployment. Borrowing by consumers and businesses rose in the week ending July 25th to $7.1 trillion, within 2.9% of its October 2008 peak. New lending for autos jumped to $134.3 billion in the first 4 months of the year, up 56% from the same period in 2009. Son of a gun. GM ramps up risky subprime loans in autos to drive sales. That's right. GM ramps up risky subprime auto loans to drive sales. That's right. President Obama touted General Motors as a successful example of his administrative policies. Yet GM's recovery is built, at least in part, on increasing use of subprime loans. That's right. And here's all the data right here. GM Financial auto loans to customers with FICO scores below 660 rose from 87% of total loans in Q4 2010 to 93% in Q1 of 2012. It just keeps going on. So now the next time they go under, get ready to bail them out. People are just borrowing money to stay afloat. So that's why all this data is showing that things look better. Just like the country keeps borrowing more to stay ahead. An elderly woman lights herself on fire, becoming the fourth Israeli in a month to do so. A 48-year-old did, a 45-year-old, and a 57-year-old. Israel's going through the same kind of problems as many other countries. People desperate with no way out are saying goodbye in a very, very graphic way to show how terrible things are. And remember, when all else fails, they take you to war. And Israel is beating that war drum along with the United States. Let's take a look over what's going over there in Syria. The Battle of Aleppo is raging. Here's the headline from the New York Times with this big photo in the front. A Syrian rebel taking cover on Tuesday in Aleppo. And I'm wondering to myself, how does this guy get the photo of the Syrian rebel? How come they're never showing photos of the Syrian troops? They keep pumping up these rebels with a cause. The Al-Qaeda folks, that's right. The Al-Qaeda people that are destabilizing Western Africa, Mali. They never had any problems when Gaddafi was in control. No. But now, of course, it's all out of control. Iran moved on Tuesday to reframe the Syrian conflict as part of a wider battle with the United States and other hostile world powers, dispatching the personal representative of its paramount leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, to Damascus for a televised display of solidarity. If anybody thinks that the Syrians are going to fold and Iran is going to turn its back on Syria, they have another story. And if anybody thinks that they could take out Iran like that, I heard some really stupid guy yesterday telling me, I'll tell you what we got to do to Iran. We got to blast them off the earth. We got to really do it this time. You can't go halfway like they did in Iraq. I said, hey, Junior, go lead the charge. You're full of shit. Oh, you're going to kill all these people for what? And you think it's going to stop? That's the stupid mentality that's driving this war. But war in the Middle East isn't enough. No, no, not for the United States. U.S. strokes disputes in South China Sea. The Obama administration has further inflamed disputes in the South China Sea with a U.S. State Department statement criticizing China for formally establishing the city of Sanzha, a garrison in the Parcel Islands. State Department spokesman Patrick Ventrell, no, State Department hack flunky Patrick Ventrell maintained that the United States was not taking sides in the competing territorial claims by China and several South Asian countries. However, in noting an uptick in confrontational rhetoric and disagreements over resource exploitation. Could you imagine? Resource exploitation. He singled out China's upgrading of Sanzha City and the stationing of troops as running, quote, counter to collaborative diplomatic efforts to resolve differences and risk further escalating tensions in the region. Ventrell also pointed to, quote, coercive economic actions and the incidents around Scarborough Reef, including the use of barriers to deny access. An oblique criticism of China's actions in the on-long dispute in the Philippines with U.S. ally over the reef. So there you have it. You fail in Afghanistan. You really take it in Iraq. You lose Vietnam. You got thrown out of Korea. You never had a victory there. It's only an armistice. You can't win anywhere, but the United States knows how to start wars, doesn't it? Yeah. What's going on in Syria is going to be, I believe, a flashpoint into much more dangerous incidents in the future. And the United States is inflaming it. And as I pointed out with Israel, it keeps getting worse because the more their economy goes down, Netanyahu, the Yahoo, is going to be talking against making strikes against Iran. And they're already talking today that because UN envoys are going to Iran to try to cool out the nuclear issue, that they're saying in Israel that that's inflaming the issue of Iran having nuclear weapons. And along the same lines with the Syria and Iran, we now have Senator Richard G. Lugar, the Indiana Republican, saying the Syrian government last month threatened to deploy chemical weapons in response to any foreign attack, and that the United States and Russia should urge Syria to eliminate their stockpiles of chemical weapons. To wit, Syria had never joined the agreement to eliminate such arms, the Chemical Weapons Convention, which was signed by 188 countries. So let me get this straight. They want Syria to give up their chemical weapons that they said they would use in response to a foreign attack. Israel has what, 400 nuclear weapons? And they never signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Agreement. But Israel has the supreme right to defend itself. You hear that all the time. But not Syria. Why? They're only Syrians. And we heard Mittens Romney say that the Israelis are a much higher culture than the Palestinians, and going on and on, those other Arabs. So they don't have any rights. No, no, no. If warmongering U.S., dictatorial Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the other Arab little leaguers want to destroy Syria, everybody should stand aside and let it happen. The hypocrisy here cannot be any clearer. On a high note, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Here it is. Front page story. Eugene Gregan, the fine artist for the Trends Journal, and whose art that I have adorning the walls of the Trends Research Institute and the Trends Journal. Ulster artist, that means Ulster County artist, gets gold medal in contest, painting shown at London exhibit. Artist Eugene Gregan, at home Monday in his Napanock studio, received a gold medal after one of his artworks, The Two Views of the Great Wall, was chosen by China to be shown in London at the Olympics. Wonderful story. We'll post it up there for you to read. Gene's a great guy. He taught me a lot of things and continues to do so. I would call him a man's man, and a very wise man at that. An older guy than me, and I'm the kind of guy that believes that you keep on learning from the older people, and Gene's the kind of guy that keeps on believing that you learn every day. And that's what it's all about. Keep learning and growing. This is Gerald Celente, and that's just some of today's trends in the news.